Welcome. You've arrived at the edge of a long and peaceful journey. A journey that begins far away in the quiet hush of evening. Tonight we will travel, not quickly, not hurriedly, but in the unhurried way of ancient caravans, moving gently, step by step, along the old Silk Road. The Silk Road was never a single road. It was a vast network of winding paths, across deserts, mountains, and valleys, carrying not only silk, but spices, stories, languages, and dreams. As you listen, let your shoulders relax. Let your breath grow slower. There is no rush. The merchants of old would travel for months, even years. And tonight, we travel at the same unhurried pace. So, gently, let's begin. Segment 1. The caravan prepares in Chang'an. It is early morning in the city of Chang'an, the eastern gateway of the Silk Road. The sun rises softly over curved rooftops, casting long shadows on narrow stone lanes. Merchants stir awake, their carts loaded with bundles of fine silk, smooth, shimmering, and impossibly light. Donkeys shuffle in place, bells tinkling softly on their harnesses. The air carries the scent of jasmine tea brewing in clay pots, mixed with the faint smell of freshly baked bread from a nearby stall. No one is in a rush. The journey ahead will be long. The merchants speak in low voices, checking ropes, testing wheels, arranging their bundles carefully so that the weight is balanced. The caravan master, an older man with sun-browned skin, slowly counts the camels each, one calm, patient, and ready. The first day will only be a gentle walk beyond the city walls. And so, with the city slowly awakening behind them, the caravan begins to move west. Segment 2. Out of the city. Into the countryside, the stone streets of Chang'an fade behind us. Soon, the air is fresher, carrying the smell of grass fields and damp earth. The road becomes softer, a packed dirt track winding past small villages. Farmers are already at work. We see rice paddies, their shallow waters reflecting the pale sky. Women in conical straw hats bend slowly, planting seedlings. A child pauses to watch the caravan pass, clutching a small clay toy in his hand. The sounds are peaceful, just the soft thud of camel hooves and the occasional bird song. Our pace is unhurried. At nightfall, the caravan stops at a small roadside inn. It is simple, just a wooden building with a few rooms and a kitchen that smells of ginger and garlic. The travelers eat quietly bowls of noodles, warm broth, soft bread. Then they settle into sleep, knowing tomorrow will bring more miles westward. Segment 3. Crossing the Wei River. The morning mist hangs low over the Wei River. Its waters are calm, carrying only a few flat wooden boats that drift lazily downstream. The caravan pauses at the riverbank. A ferryman, dressed in simple robes, guides the camels carefully onto a wide raft. The animals move slowly, their long necks swaying, their bells softly chiming with each step. The river crossing is slow. The water mirrors the pale sky above. Tiny ripples spread outward as the ferry glides across. On the far bank, a cluster of willow trees leans over the water. There, leaves brush the surface like soft green threads. It is a quiet moment, the kind that travelers remember for years after the long miles have passed. Segment 4. First mountain pass. The path now begins to climb. Hills rise slowly, covered in pine and cypress. The air feels cooler, and the smell of resin drifts from the trees. The caravan moves in a single file. Camels step carefully along the narrow track, their feet crunching softly over loose gravel. From the ridge, The view is wide and still. Rolling valleys stretch far below, dotted with small villages. Smoke curls lazily from chimneys, a sign of evening meals being prepared. The caravan makes camp on a flat shelf of rock. Here, in the high air, the night is crisp. A low fire is lit, just enough for tea and simple bread. Above, the stars appear bright and sharp, and the quiet hum of travelers' voices fades until there is only silence. Segment 5. A quiet market town after several days. The caravan descends into a small market town. Its streets are lined with wooden stalls, each covered by cloth awnings faded from years of sun. Merchants from nearby valleys sell simple, goods, dried fruit, pottery, coarse wool cloth. There are no grand treasures here, only the quiet hum of everyday trade. The caravan exchanges a few bolts of silk for barley, fresh dates, and water skins. Children chase each other between stalls. An old man sits on a stool, carving small wooden flutes. He offers one to a young merchant, who tucks it into his pack as a keepsake. By afternoon, the caravan leaves, the sound of the market slowly fading behind. The road ahead now begins to stretch wider. Soon we will reach the edge of the great desert, but tonight the caravan rests again, beneath a quiet sky. Segment 6. Reaching the edge of the desert, the mountains fall away behind us. Ahead, the land begins to change. The air grows drier, the grass becomes sparse, and soon the path turns into a pale ribbon of sand and hard-packed earth. The caravan reaches a desert outpost, just a few stone buildings gathered around a deep well. Here, travelers fill their water skins, repair saddle straps, and rest in the shade of a clay wall. The smell of dates and flatbread lingers in the air. Small desert birds hop along the edge of the well, pecking at stray grains dropped by passing traders. The desert ahead will be long, but the pace will be slow, each day marked by sunrise and sunset. Nothing more urgent than the rhythm of the camel's steps. Segment 7. First days in the desert. The caravan enters the desert. The land seems endless waves of sand, soft hills, and open sky. The air is still. The only sound is the gentle pad of camel feet. During the day, the sunlight is warm but not harsh. The travelers wear loose robes, their faces shaded by wide hoods. At night, the desert cools. The caravan halts near a low dune, forming a half circle for shelter. The sand feels cool beneath the hand. The night sky is deep and full of stars, so many that it feels as though the desert itself is floating among them. The travelers sleep easily, lulled by the quiet and the rhythm of the journey. Segment 8. Desert oasis days pass slowly. Then, like a promise kept, the caravan reaches an oasis. Palm trees rise from the sand, their fronds rustling gently in a faint breeze. Clear water lies in a small pool, reflecting the green leaves above. The camels drink slowly, kneeling to rest. The travelers refill water skins, rinse their hands, and sit quietly in the shade. Nearby, a few stone houses form a small settlement. The people here are accustomed to caravans. They sell figs, salt, and goat's milk to passing merchants. Conversations are unhurried, the language a mixture of familiar and foreign words. As evening falls, the caravan sleeps in the cool air of the oasis, surrounded by the rustle of palm leaves. Segment 9. Deep desert journey. The desert feels endless. The dunes rise and fall like soft golden waves, and the caravan moves at the same gentle rhythm, ever hurried, never still. The sun arcs slowly across the sky. Each day begins with cool light, turns to warm gold, and then fades into the deep violet of evening. Occasionally, the travelers pass another caravan heading east. Greetings are brief, just a nod, a quiet exchange of news, and then the desert swallows the sound again. At night, the camp is quiet. The sand holds the warmth of the day, and the faint sound of wind moving over the dunes is the only music. Segment 10. Desert wind and sand. Some days bring gentle winds. They roll over the dunes, carrying a fine mist of sand. The caravan adjusts its pace. Camels lower their heads. The travelers cover their faces lightly with cloth. The world feels quieter, only the soft hiss of the sand moving along the ground. At night, the wind calms. A small fire is lit, its flame sheltered by a ring of stones. Tea is brewed slowly, its steam curling upward into the cool air. The night sky is endless, filled with stars so bright they seem close enough to touch. Sleep comes easily. In the silence of the desert. Segment 11. First sight of Dunwang after many days. The horizon changes. From the shifting sands, a line of green appears. Beyond it, the faint shape of walls and towers. The caravan has reached Dunwang, the last great city before the Taklamakan Desert. Its walls are high, built from sun-baked clay. Colorful banners flutter gently in the wind. Inside the gates, the city hums with quiet life. Stalls overflow with dates, melons, spices, and bolts of cloth from faraway lands. The smell of roasting lamb and fresh bread drifts through the narrow streets. Here, travelers will rest for several days, replenishing supplies, sharing news, and preparing for the long journey westward. Segment 12. Leaving Dunwang. The caravan departs Dunwang in the soft light of morning. The city walls grow smaller behind us. Soon, only the pale desert stretches ahead once more. The camels walk in quiet rhythm, their bells jingling softly. Traders speak in low voices, some humming small tunes to pass the miles. Ahead lies the vast Taklamakan Desert, a place of shifting sands, hidden oases, and rare welcome shade. The pace remains slow, measured. Every step is deliberate, every sound softened by the sand beneath. Segment 13. Days along the Taklamakan edge. The caravan follows the northern edge of the Taklamakan Desert. Here, the sand is broken by dry shrubs and low ridges. Occasionally, a small stream glitters in the distance, feeding a narrow band of green reeds. Villages appear like small clusters of lifehouses of mud brick, shaded by tall poplar trees. Children wave to the passing travelers. Old women sit in doorways, weaving wool and cotton into simple cloth. The caravan stops to trade silk for food, barley, melons, and salted fish. Each night, they rest in the shelter of poplar groves, the leaves whispering softly in the breeze. Segment 14. Entering the desert heart. After days along the edge, the road bends into the desert's true heart. The dunes here are taller, their curves shaped by centuries of wind. The caravan travels in long, patient lines. The sound of the world grows quieter until only the steady crunch of sand remains. They travel early in the morning and late in the afternoon, resting in the shade of dunes during the hottest hours. Midday is spent quietly sharing water, speaking softly, or simply listening to the faint whistle of the wind. At night, the desert sky opens, wide, filled with countless stars. The cool air carries the faint scent of sage and dry grass from distant oases. Segment 15. A desert caravanserai at last. A dark shape appears on the horizon. A caravanserai. Fortress-like inn, built of thick mud brick, standing alone in the desert. The gates open to a quiet courtyard. Here, the camels kneel to rest. Travelers find cool water from deep wells, shaded rooms with woven mats, and simple meals of rice, bread, and lentils. Merchants exchange news in low voices. Some speak of routes ahead, others of storms or new markets far west. But the evening remains calm. The caravan sleeps within safe walls, the desert kept at bay for another night. Segment 16. Last days in the Taklamakonthe. Days in the desert begin to change. The dunes grow smaller, the sand giving way to stretches of dry earth and scattered stones. In the distance, faint green lines appear, signs of rivers fed by mountain snow far to the south. The caravan moves steadily, knowing the end of the great desert is near. The camels seem to sense it, too, walking with a little more ease, their bells chiming softly. At night, the air feels cooler. The stars still shine, but there is a faint scent of water and grass on the breeze. Segment 17. First sight of Cash. After many weeks, the land changes entirely. The caravan reaches a broad valley, green and alive with orchards and fields. In the distance stands Kashgar, its walls and towers rising above the plain. Here traders from China, India, Persia, and the far west meet to exchange goods, languages, and ideas. The city gates are wide open. Within, the narrow streets are lined with wooden balconies, colorful awnings, and the scent of fresh bread and spiced meats drifting from bakeries. The caravan enters quietly, knowing it has reached an important resting place. Segment 18. Kashgar's market. Kashgar's market is unlike any the caravan has seen before. Here, the stalls overflow with goods from faraway lands. There are Persian carpets, their patterns rich with deep reds and blues. Indian spices fill the air with the warm scent of cinnamon, cardamom, and saffron. Glass beads from the Mediterranean sparkle in the sunlight, and blocks of tea from China are stacked neatly, ready to be traded westward. The traders speak many languages, but all share the same unhurried rhythm. Deals are made over cups of tea, conversations stretching gently through the afternoon. Segment 19. Resting in Kashgar. The caravan remains in Kashgar for several days. The travelers rest in a courtyard shaded by fig trees. They eat rice, lamb, and fresh melons from the orchards nearby. Camels are brushed, saddles repaired, and water skins were filled. In the evenings, the city grows quiet. The streets glow with the warm light of oil lamps, and the sound of a flute drifts softly from a distant doorway. The caravan sleeps peacefully, ready for the next journey. West. Segment 20. Leaving Kashgar for the mountains, the caravan departs Kashgar under a pale morning sky. The fertile valley gives way to rocky hills. Ahead, the Pamir Mountains rise slowly, their peaks touched with snow. The air is cooler here. Streams of clear water run down from the slopes, feeding small villages of stone houses with slate roofs. The caravan moves at a slow, careful pace, climbing higher each day. The bells of the camels sound softer in the thin mountain air. Segment 21. High passes of the Pamirs. The road narrows. Steep cliffs rise on one side, deep valleys fall away on the other. The caravan crosses stone bridges built centuries ago, their arches weathered by countless travelers. Above eagles circle, their calls echoing softly in the air. In the high passes, the wind is cool but gentle. Travelers wrap themselves in thick wool cloaks, their breath visible in the early morning air. At night, the caravan rests on sheltered ledges, fires glowing faintly under the clear sky. Segment 22. A mountain caravanserai. The mountains. The caravan reaches another caravanserai, this one built into the side of a rocky slope. Inside, the walls are thick, keeping out the cold wind. A fire burns in the central hall, casting a warm glow over travelers seated on woven rugs. Meals are simple: lentil stew, bread, and hot tea brewed with mountain herbs. Merchants exchange stories of mountain storms, safe passes, and distant markets. Outside, the wind hums quietly through the stones. Inside, all is still and safe. Segment 23. Descending toward the valleys after many days. The road begins to descend. The snow peaks fade behind, and the air grows warmer. Green valleys appear, filled with fruit trees and terraced fields. Small villages, the slopes, their markets selling apricots, walnuts, and fresh bread to travelers. The caravan pauses at each village, trading for supplies and resting in shaded courtyards. Ahead lies the great city of Samarkand, a jewel of the Silk Road, but the pace remains calm. There is no rush. Segment 24. Entering Samarkandha. Caravan enters Samarkandha beneath a warm afternoon sky. Tall gates open into wide streets lined with trees and gardens, their leaves shimmering softly in the light breeze. The air carries the faint scent of rosewater and baked bread in the great square. Traders from every corner of the Silk Road gather. Merchants with bolts of silk, Persian traders with rugs and glassware, Indian sellers with fragrant spices, and local craftsmen offering blue-glazed ceramics. The city is not rushed. Trade moves in the same slow rhythm as the journey itself, every deal marked by long conversation and shared cups of tea. Segment 25. Rest in Samarkandha. Caravan stays in Samarkandha for many days. They lodge in a quiet inn with a shaded courtyard. Vines climb the walls, their leaves casting soft shadows on the white stone. Meals are served at low tables: flatbread, lamb stew, melons, and sweet dried fruit. In the evenings, music drifts from distant gardens. Soft strings and low drums echo in the warm air. The merchants repair their goods, restock their supplies, and prepare for the long journey ahead. Segment 26. Leaving Samarkand for the steppe. Caravan departs Samarkand as the air turns cooler. The lush fields fade, giving way to the wide grasslands of the steppe. Here, the road stretches far and open. Low hills roll like waves, covered with endless grass swaying in the wind. The sky feels larger, the horizon distant and still. The journey is quiet. Days pass beneath the soft arc of the sky. Nights are spent near small rivers, where the sound of running water lulls the travelers to sleep. Segment 27. Across the steppe. The caravan travels through the steppe, meeting nomadic herders along the way. Their tents, made of felt and wool, stand in small clusters. Smoke curls from their fires, carrying the scent of roasted meat and fresh milk tea. The herders are welcoming. They share bowls of warm drink and trade simple goods: wool, dried meat, leather straps for silk, tea, and spices. The steppe is peaceful, its vastness a comfort to those who have traveled so far. Segment 28. Approaching Bukhara after weeks. On the open grasslands, the caravan sees Bukhara rising from the plain. Its tall minarets catch the golden light of sunset. The walls glow warm and welcoming. Inside, the markets are rich with silk robes, carved wood, and woven rugs. Caravanserais here are busy but calm rooms filled with travelers sharing news of distant lands. The caravan rests, washes in cool courtyards, and prepares for the next stage westward. Segment 29. Leaving Bukhara toward Persia, the caravan turns toward Persia, crossing dry plains and rocky hills. The air grows warmer again, scented faintly with sage and wild herbs. Small towns appear along the way, whitewashed houses with shaded courtyards. Here, traders find pomegranates, honey, and copper tools. Every stop feels both new and familiar. Quiet thread in the long weaving of the Silk Road. Segment 30. Arrival in Persia. The caravan enters Persian cities filled with gardens, tiled courtyards, and bustling bazaars. The scent of saffron, rosewater, and grilled lamb fills the air. Markets are alive with goods from East and West Chinese silks, Indian spices, Roman glassware, and local carpets, but the mood remains gentle. Trade is as much about conversation as about exchange. Segment 31. Rest in Persian, a Persian caravanserai. The travelers rest in cool arched rooms. Water trickles from stone fountains. The sound soothes even the weariest merchant. Here, news travels quickly of roads ahead, of safe passage, and of distant ports where ships wait to carry goods farther west. Segment 32. Toward the western roads, the caravan leaves Persia, following roads through rolling hills and fertile valleys. The journey feels different, now closer to the edge of the known world. Vineyards appear along the hillsides. Small villages greet the travelers with bread, olives, and wine. The road is still, the pace gentle. Segment 33. Final destinations at last. The caravan reaches the western edges of the Silk Road. Some merchants will continue on to Byzantium. Others will return east with new goods. The journey has been long, measured not in days, but in quiet moments. Deserts crossed, mountains climbed, cities visited, and countless cups of tea shared. The road stretches endlessly in both directions, carrying the memories of every traveler who walks it. Segment 34. The road through Mesopotamia. The caravan moves gently into the warm valleys of Mesopotamia. Here, the land is green, watered by great rivers. Fields of wheat and barley stretch far to the horizon, swaying softly in the breeze. Villages appear with flat-roofed mud houses, shaded by tall date palms. Children play near the riverbanks, their laughter faint in the distance. Merchants pause to rest in the shade, sipping cool water drawn from deep wells. The road ahead feels timeless, used by countless travelers for thousands of years. Segment 35. Ancient river crossings. The caravan reaches the banks of a broad, slow-moving river. Boats with curved prows ferry people and goods from one side to the other. The camels wait patiently as they are led onto wooden barges. The river's surface reflects the pale blue of the sky, broken only by ripples from the boatman's or on the far shore. The caravan steps onto fertile soil again, continuing westward. Segment 36. Caravan nights in Mesopotamia. At night, the caravan stops near a grove of date palms. Fires are lit in small clay hearths. The scent of roasting chickpeas and fresh bread fills the air. Merchants tell quiet stories of storms in the mountains, of safe passages, of old friends met along the road. The stars above are the same as those over the deserts, the mountains, and the steppes always watching the travelers pass. Segment 37. Entering Anatolia. Days later, the caravan enters the rugged lands of Anatolia. The mountains here are steep, the valleys narrow, and the air cooler. Small fortresses guard the roads. In the towns, markets sell cheese, honey, and olive oil to passing caravans. The road winds slowly upward, each turn opening to new views of hills and villages below. Segment 38. A stone caravanserai in Anatolian, a cool evening. The caravan reaches a grand stone caravanserai. Its heavy gates open to a wide courtyard where camels are led to rest. Travelers sleep on raised platforms, under arched ceilings. The air smells faintly of smoke, wool, and baking bread from the kitchen. The sound of the wind outside fades as the caravan sleeps safe within stone walls. Segment 39. Reaching the coastal lands, the caravan moves westward until the air begins to change. A faint scent of salt drifts on the breeze. The road now passes through orchards of figs, olives, and pomegranates. Soon, the land opens to the sight of the sea of calm, endless blue stretching to the horizon. Here, traders from distant lands wait with ships ready to carry goods farther west. Segment 40. The port city. The caravan enters a busy port city at the edge of the Silk Road. The streets are filled with the scent of the sea, spices and fresh fish. Ships with tall sails wait in the harbor. Dock workers move slowly, loading crates of silk, porcelain, and spices onto vessels bound for new markets. The caravan's long journey by land is nearly complete. Segment 41. The end of the land road. The caravan rests in the city for several days. Some merchants will sail westward, others will return east with new goods. The road they have traveled stretches behind them deserts, mountains, rivers, cities all, linked by the slow, steady rhythm of trade. At night, the harbor glows softly, with lanterns, and the sound of waves mixes with the quiet hum of voices. Segment 43. The port awakens. Morning comes softly to the port city. The first light spills across the sea, painting the waves in silver and pale gold. The masts of anchored ships sway gently in the breeze. Fishermen begin their day, quietly tending to nets. In the market, bakers prepare fresh loaves. The smell, drifting through the narrow streets, the hum of daily life begins, slow, unhurried, peaceful. Segment 44. Crossing the sea. For some merchants, the land journey ends here. For others, it continues over the sea. Ships are loaded, carefully silks wrapped in waxed cloth, spices stored in sealed jars, porcelain packed in straw. The sea is calm. The horizon stretches endlessly, blue meeting blue dot at night, stars cover. The sky, the soft sound of water against the hull is a steady, soothing rhythm. Segment 45. Arrival in a Mediterranean port. Days later, a new coastline appears. Whitewashed buildings rise above a calm harbor. Merchants disembark slowly, their goods carried carefully to the waiting markets. The air is warm, scented with olives, lemons, and sea salt. The streets are narrow, shaded by wooden balconies. Segment 46. Life in the port city. In this new city, life follows a gentle rhythm. Merchants rest in shaded courtyards, drinking cool water flavored with mint. The markets are filled with soft sounds, the rustle of fabric, the quiet bargaining of traders, the distant call of a fisherman selling his morning catch. Evenings are calm, with the sea breeze drifting through the streets. Segment 47. Onward to distant lands. Some merchants remain, content to sell their goods here. Others continue their journey westward along the coast. The road follows the shore, past groves of fig trees and olive orchards. The scent of the sea is always nearby. The journey remains calm and unhurried. Segment 48. Arrival in Aleppo. Inland lies Aleppo, a city known for its covered markets. Stone archways shade narrow lanes filled with the scent of spicy cinnamon, nutmeg, saffron. Merchants from every part of the Silk Road gather here, their goods arranged in quiet, colorful displays. The air is warm, the voice is low, the pace gentle. Segment 49. Caravan nights in Aleppo at night. The caravan rests in a great caravanserai. A fountain trickles in the courtyard, surrounded by arched stone rooms. Merchants sit quietly on low cushions, sipping tea. The air carries the soft fragrance of cardamom. Beyond the thick stone walls, the city sleeps. Segment 50. Damascus Gardens. The journey continues south to Damascus. This city is famous for its gardens, green spaces filled with pomegranate and lemon trees. The air is scented with flowers. Streams of clear water run through shaded courtyards. Merchants pause to enjoy the stillness, trading goods in peaceful surroundings. Segment 51. Damascus nights in the evenings. Damascus grows even quieter. Lanterns glow softly along the streets. Families gather on rooftops, drinking sweet tea. Merchants rest in shaded inns, lulled by the sound of water and the cool night air. Segment 52. The last roads to Byzantium from Damascus. The road turns north and west. The path leads toward the great city of Byzantium, known today as Constantinople. The journey passes through rolling hills, small villages, and quiet rivers. Each stop is a gentle pause along the way. Segment 53. Constantinople. Finally, the caravan arrives at Constantinople. The city stands between east and west, its domes and towers shining in the sunlight. Markets are filled with silks, spices, glass, and precious metals. Merchants speak many languages, but all trade with patience and calm. Segment 54. Closing the journey in the evening. Constantinople glows softly. The waters of the Bosphorus reflect the warm light of the city. Ships rest in the harbor. Caravans rest in their inns. The Silk Road has carried the merchants far. Now, for a time, the road grows quiet, and as it rests, so can you. Segment 55. Constantinople at dawn. Morning comes softly to Constantinople. The domes and minarets turn gold in the first light of day. Fishermen set out into the calm waters of the Bosphorus. The air is cool, scented faintly with bread baking in the early markets. Segment 56. Life in Constantinople. The streets of the city grow busy slowly. Merchants arrange silks from the east, glass from Venice, spices from India, and fruit from the islands. Every deal is made patiently over cups of strong, sweet coffee. Children run errands, carrying baskets of figs or folded cloth. Segment 57. Evenings by the Bosphorus. As the sun sets, the Bosphorus glows in shades of orange and pink. Merchants stroll along the water, talking quietly. The smell of grilled fish drifts from small taverns. The sound of waves becomes the music of the night. Segment 58. The road south from Constantinople. Some merchants turn south, following the coast toward the great cities of Egypt. The road winds through small ports and fishing villages. Olive trees grow on the hillsides. The scent of salt always on the air. Segment 59. Arrival in Alexandria. Alexandria rises from the shore like a white jewel. Ships from every part of the world fill its busy harbor. The air smells of salt, spices, and papyrus. Markets overflow with Egyptian linen, perfumes, honey, and Eastern silks. Segment 60. Life in Alexandria. The caravan rests in Alexandria for several days. Merchants sit in shaded courtyards, sipping cool water with mint. They share quiet stories of long journeys and far-off lands. Evenings bring calm seas, the sound of waves softly reaching the shore. Segment 61. Cairo's bustling come from Alexandria. The road turns inland toward Cairo. The markets here are larger, but the pace remains gentle. The streets are filled with spice shops, copper workshops, and sellers of fine cloth. Perfumes of rosewater, amber, and musk drift through the air. Segment 62. Evenings in Cairo at night. The city cools. Families sit on rooftops, drinking tea. The call to prayer drifts over the rooftops, blending with the hum of quiet voices. Merchants rest in inns built around peaceful courtyards, where fountains murmur softly. Segment 63. The long journey remembered. The merchants think back on the long road, from the deserts of China to the mountains of Persia, from Samarkand to the sea. The journey has been more than traded, has been a slow sharing of stories, customs, and friendship. Segment 64. The road sleeps once more and now the road rests. Ships are anchored, caravans are quiet. The Silk Road sleeps beneath the stars, and you, too, can rest, carried by the gentle rhythm of its endless path. Segment 65. A day of rest in Constantinople. The caravan lingers in the city. Morning begins slowly, with the soft call of gulls over the harbor. Merchants visit quiet tea houses, where the air smells faintly of honey and fresh bread. No business is hurried here. Each deal, each exchange of goods, is accompanied by long conversation. Segment 66. Constantinople's markets at midday. By midday, the covered markets glow softly in the filtered light. Shelves are stacked with folded silks in deep blues and golds. Brass lamps shine dully, polished by careful hands. The air carries the warm scent of cinnamon, saffron, and figs. Voices murmur softly, a constant, calming hum. Segment 67. A walk through the gardens. In the afternoon, merchants walk through the city's gardens. The paths are lined with tall cypress trees. Small fountains pour water into marble basins. The sound gentle and steady. The air smells of roses and fresh earth. A soft breeze moves the leaves overhead. Segment 68. Evening along the water. As evening falls, the Bosphorus turns silver under the fading light. Fishermen return with their small boats. Merchants gather along the shore, quietly watching the water. The air cools. The city glows with the light of hundreds of oil lamps. Segment 69. Preparing for the journey south. The next morning, preparations for the journey begin. Bales of silk are tied carefully. Jars of spices are sealed. Water skins are filled for the road ahead. There is no rush. Everything moves in a quiet, practiced rhythm. Segment 70. Along the coastal road. The road south follows the coastline. Olive groves stretch along the hills, their leaves shimmering silver in the breeze. The sea is always nearby, its steady sound like a companion to the travelers. Nights are spent in small inns, where the smell of baked bread drifts through the windows. Segment 71. Arrival in Alexandria appears with the rising sun. White stone shining against the deep blue sea. The harbor is filled with tall ships, their sails catching the morning light. Merchants move slowly through the streets, taking in the sight of this city by the water dot. Segment 72. Alexandria's quiet corners, beyond the busy harbor. Alexandria has quiet places, narrow streets shaded by wooden balconies, courtyards where water trickles from fountains, small shops selling papyrus, glass beads, and jars of perfume. Here, time feels unhurried. Segment 73, the road to Cairo from Alexandria. The caravan turns inland. The road passes fields green with crops. Palm trees stand tall along irrigation canals. Birds call softly from the reeds. The journey feels calm. The air warm but gentle. Segment 74. Arrival in Cairo. Cairo rises with its tall minarets and domes, glowing softly in the sunlight. The streets are alive but not hurried. Markets are full of copper lamps, carved wood, and fragrant spices. Everywhere, the air smells of rose water, mint, and warm bread. Segment 75. Cairo's morning market. Morning in Cairo begins gently. The sun rises over the domes, turning them gold. Markets slowly awakens, sweep the stone paths, arranging spices in neat rows. The air fills with the soft scent of cinnamon, coffee, and fresh bread. The city hums quietly, never in a rush. Segment 76. Cairo's rooftops at dusk. At dusk, the heat fades and the rooftops come alive. Families sit together, sharing tea sweetened with sugar. The call to prayer echoes softly over the rooftops. From above, the city seems to shimmer in the fading light, calm and still. Segment 77. Reflections on the journey. Merchants think back on the long road, from the bustling streets of Chang'an, across deserts, mountains, gardens, and cities, to the harbors of the Mediterranean and the markets of Cairo. The Silk Road has been more than a trade route, has been a journey of patience and quiet discovery. Segment 78. The road beyond the journey may rest here, but the road continues. Other caravans will set out tomorrow. Other ships will sail to far-off ports. The Silk Road never truly sleeps, simply pauses, like a calm breath between steps. Segment 79. Night along the Nile. Night falls over Cairo. The Nile flows gently under the moonlight. Lanterns glow along its banks, their reflections trembling softly on the water. The sounds of the day have faded. Only the quiet murmur of the river remains. Segment 80. The journey at Restand. Now, the journey comes to rest. The road lies quiet, from China to the Mediterranean. Markets are still, caravans are at peace, the sea is calm, the Silk Road sleeps under the stars, and you, too, can let go of the long road, the long day, and drift softly into sleep. The journey continues in dreams, and the road will be waiting when you wake.